Like a vampire, I don't need to know you. Come with me, I'll show you. You can find me backstage, I'm a party with a Nicolas Cage. Girl, I want the body, you know you got a body like Nicolas Cage. You ain't gotta be scared, you ain't gotta be afraid, baby. It's just you and me alone tonight with Nicolas Cage.
This is another episode of Late Night Cage Fight. Welcome back to Season 4. The three of us, Steve and Sean and myself, Reese, we just watched Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider for the Halloween season. Literally just finished the film together. What a grand old time. Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
Wasn't it awesome, Sean?
So, as our listeners know, I'm a pretty big Marvel fan, but I never really got into Ghost Rider, so this was one that I actually had never seen before.
Yeah, but you're into it now.
It was, it certainly lived up to its reputation. I'll say that.
Ghost Rider is a 2007 American superhero film written and directed by Mark Steven Johnson. As Cage Fighter Sean mentioned, it was a Marvel Comics character. I should say still is. I don't know if the comics are still ongoing or not. I know literally nothing about the comic book character. My only relationship with Ghost Rider has been, I believe, when I was a child, I owned a Ghost Rider action figure.
Like because of this movie or prior to?
That's it. No, it's just completely, maybe someone gifted it to me.
Okay.
The film stars Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. We also have Eva Mendes, Wes Bentley, Sam Elliott, our favorite Western actor. Matt Long played, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Young Johnny Blaze? Matt Long?
Oh, Hoop. Yeah, my bad. I'm thinking of the bad guy.
Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda played Mephistopheles.
Yeah, that wasn't
the
gonna
devil.
Mephisto, as he's commonly known as in the comics.
Right. What was his son's name? Blackheart. Wes Bentley.
Blackheart. Which, if anyone's ever played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Blackheart is actually a playable character in that movie and is a lot cooler in that than he is in this one.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, that was a character that I felt just was not given a whole lot of love and care. Certainly not the attention that he needed to be portraying the main villain in this movie.
Yeah, he very much came off as a character that you would see in one of the Twilight films.
I think he was one of the Twilight films. No?
Ghost Rider was met with generally negative reviews from critics, but they do say it was a box office success. It earned $228.7 million on a $110 million budget, so people did go out to see it. However, it is mostly universally panned by critics across the board.
Yeah, this was really one of those early 2000s superhero movies after the first Spider-Man that, where it was pretty widely known that, most comic book movies besides Spider-Man and some of the Batman movies were pretty notoriously bad. This was around the time of, the Fantastic Four, another Fox movie, had just come out a couple years beforehand and was pretty universally disliked. And
Gotcha.
Blade, people liked Blade. That Blade actually was the very first Marvel movie ever created, but Yeah, so this one
That would have been so
definitely-
cool if Blade had a cameo in Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
I was hopeful.
Yeah, it might still come in the future. I've heard rumors of a new Blade movie coming.
Yeah, a new Blade movie, that is something that they're currently working on, and there have actually been rumors of a new Ghost Rider potentially with Norman Reedus is a rumor that's been going around, but they haven't really done much with him lately, at least the Johnny Blaze version of him.
Right. So we should mention that they did release a sequel in 2012 called Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance
Which
with Nicolas Cage.
we will need to
Again.
watch. I made sure that I prepped it. It's on deck.
We will. I have noticed, though, I have read that that movie is supposed to be even worse than this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not heard a lot of great things about that movie.
I'm fairly certain I've seen both, and yeah. They're on pretty much the same level.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you had watched Ghost Rider before?
Yeah, I've seen Ghost Rider numerous times. Not always on purpose. It's been on TV, and I've just watched it a few of the times. But yeah, I've seen it numerous times. Just it's been a while since until today.
Right on, Ghost Rider.
So-
IGN ranked this film.
Well, I was gonna kind of go really feeding off what you're about to say, which was that the critics all say this movie is pretty bad. I'm just kind of curious what your guys' take is.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it's not the worst movie, but the writing is not great. They don't really do a great job like fleshing out the character and his motivations that much, or just like his power set. I mean, they give him kind of the typical his father dies backstory, and I feel like they probably could have used Mephisto as a character that more so like taught him about what he can actually do, because I mean he's supposed to work for him, so you would think he'd give him a little tutorial.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes gives Ghost Rider an average rating of 4.2 out of 10. And I think I would mostly agree with that. I think that's a bit harsh, though. I mean, I might round up to a 5. Because it wasn't unwatchable. It wasn't completely not entertaining. I felt like it didn't hold up in its entirety, tonally, and the plot didn't make sense to me at times. But in a comic book movie, I'm much more able to suspend my disbelief and not really question a lot of why things are happening on screen or how they came to be. Which, if this was a more serious film with the religious undertones or overtones, I would be keen on that. I'd be wondering, like, is this really the devil? Is this really falling in line with some kind of, Catholic faith or whatever? But in this, I just felt like none of that really matters. It's just all kind of a thin layer of paint there, so to speak. And at the the emphasis was on the CG.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was what built a lot of it. No, I mean it wasn't even really great for the time.
Yeah, I don't even know what to compare it to, but it just does not hold up well today. Really. I mean, there were some sequences that I thought they were cool to see, like the scene where the Ghost Rider drives his bike up the side of the skyscraper. I mean, I thought that was a cool shot to include. We could see it from a distance and stuff. And I like the concept of it. But even when the villains, who are supposed to be fallen angels, demons, they always use the same kind of effect when they suck the soul out of these people, and it just looks very, very dated. It's like early. To me, it looks like 90s Buffy the Vampire Slayer type special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely had a very CW quality to it.
So my take on the movie kind of goes right in line with what you guys are saying, and also very much the reason that I've watched it so many times is that it's a long film for virtually nothing to happen. So it makes really good background noise. Because like every once in a while you'll come to just like another plot scene where you're like, okay, something's going to go on, and then it drags out, you get bored, you go back to what you're doing in the house, and then it's just kind of something that like draws your attention in once every like 10 or 15 minutes. But I feel like the movie was I mean, really, the whole thing, you had 30 minutes of backstory to the backstory.
Yes.
Because the entire movie was just the backstory of how Ghost Rider came to be. I mean,
yeah, it's an origin story film.
But like you have 30, like almost a third of the movie was the backstory to the backstory.
Yeah.
I know. And it was all very obvious, the setup. I mean, you could very easily predict what was going to happen and how it was going to play out. But that's probably the idea. Is it's very pulpy. It's very Western, and we know that pulp Westerns are predictable, and the characters do tend to be very one-dimensional, and that's fine. And I think the idea was they would flesh all that out with or pad that out with the effects,
right?
So you have just so many over-the-top effects and slow motion and all the dust reanimation effects when the demons come into play, and there's just so much focus on that. I don't know how many times we had to watch the sequence when Ghost Rider used his limit break, the Penance Stare move.
Oh, yeah.
Where he can look into your soul.
Yeah.
How many times did we have to see that, where it's just all these flames, and then it's like a montage of all of the horrible things that these people have done, so you can see that.
Well, and again, it just goes on
people.
uncomfortably too long, right? Where it's just like,
yes,
oh my God, get to the point.
Right. We get it.
Yeah.
But everybody's so one-dimensional too, because I would think like, well, aren't these people, sure, they've done some bad things, but don't they still have some goodness in their soul? Aren't they still worthy of being saved? But the movie is just like, no, they're rapists, they're thieves, murderers, never.
Well, and I think there's other characters. There's another superhero character that does something similar with, like, I don't know, punishing people or something. Wasn't it Spawn? Wasn't Spawn something like that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
I think you're right.
Totally.
Yeah. But it's all the idea of like punishing the evildoers. But yeah, I think that's a question of like the morality of the character.
But they deserve it. They always deserve it.
Yeah.
They didn't even really explain how he knew how to do that.
Ghost voodoo. It's always ghost voodoo.
I wonder if Cage tried to get more of a New Orleans influence in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I guess they had to settle with the iguana catching on fire.
Yeah.
There is an iguana.
Yeah.
In this
What's
movie.
that bring our
I'll never
iguana
forget
count
that.
up to now?
I don't know, but we got to keep an iguana count.
For serious.
I did read that the scene where he eats jelly beans instead of drinking alcohol, that was something that Nick had proposed. Same thing with him being obsessed with monkeys for whatever reason.
Listen, we have watched enough Nick Cage films to know him well enough to know what he is improvising and when it's someone else.
Oh yeah.
Right, Steve?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, it was obvious. Okay, we need to have a name for that, like Nick embellishments or something. Cage inclusions.
Nicholisms.
And I'm sure it was probably his idea for that cartoon he was watching.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I just don't think it fits. I think that, sorry to cut you off, but I want to get this out. It is obvious to me when I watch the film. I do believe that Cage is passionate about this character, and I think it shows in his performance. However, when he becomes the Ghost Rider, I don't think it's him. I think it's a stunt double. It's another actor, and so when it really matters the most, the Ghost Rider is not actually Cage, and I think it hurts the film that you can tell it's not him.
I had that same thought. I thought that, with Cage being such a big star and you kind of losing that when he becomes this CGI abomination, it just subtracts something from the movie. I did hear that, and I haven't really read any Ghost Rider, but it's not a very accurate depiction of how the character acts. So I don't know if Cage is super familiar with the comics, or this is kind of the area where the studios would make a lot of decisions that were not really in line with the comics. So it could have been a combination of both.
Cage Fighter Sean, I actually do know that Nick Cage was familiar with the character. Do you want to know why?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, according to IMDb in their trivia section, Nick Cage had to have his Ghost Rider tattoo covered with makeup to play Johnny Blaze.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he also, quote, lobbied furiously to play this part.
Really?
And the skull, it's like I'm going down the list. It's all about Nick Cage. I love it. His skull in the movie was generated from an X-ray, a 3D X-ray they took of his actual skull. So
that's actually really cool.
That is Nick Cage's. That is, yeah. So it is.
So does he do the voices during that section too?
It doesn't mention the voices.
I would assume as much. I didn't see anything like voice of Ghost Rider in the credits.
Yeah,
it could be an uncredited.
I don't know. It kind of sounded like him to me.
It did.
It kind of sounded like him to me. This was one of the few Marvel movies that Stan Lee did not appear in because he wasn't involved in the creation of the original.
Makes sense.
The girl in the alley, the Hot Topic looking girl, this was her film debut. Rebel Wilson is her name. I recognize her.
What else has she been in?
Oh, she's been in a lot.
Yeah.
She played the character of Bryn in Bridesmaids.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Workaholics.
Pitch Perfect.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know who this is now. Why she looked familiar.
Jojo Rabbit. She also looks really good now, I think.
So, we all agree that this is not a good comic book movie and just not a great movie. But what about a Cage movie? Is this a good Cage movie?
I think it's mid.
Mostly because it doesn't have enough of him. But it does check some boxes. You get him womanizing and
yes.
Cage out.
Making a crazy Cage out. Two of them.
Are you including the one where he becomes Ghost Rider for the first time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that one's great.
And him doing a weird, quirky thing that the studio that probably wasn't in the script.
Do you remember the mirror part? He's talking to himself in the mirror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I assume somebody saw him doing that in his dressing room, and they were like, "You got to do that on camera, man."
Well, maybe we should mention a little bit more about the story so we can put it into context. Right, so Johnny Blaze, it starts out when he's a kid. It's 1986, he's 17, and he and his father are professional stunt performers at a circus or a carnival.
Yeah, they're carny people.
And young Johnny Blaze learns that his father is dying of incurable cancer. So what happens is the devil, who we learn later is the character Mephistopheles, appears to young Johnny and makes a contract with him to basically become the Ghost Rider, but young Johnny doesn't know the terms of the contract. He just knows that his father's cancer will be cured. But what I didn't understand is some of his blood falls onto the contract. And that's how the contract was signed between them, but I didn't understand where the blood came from.
He got stabbed by the outside. It like pricked his finger and then some blood dropped down. So the devil tricked him into signing the contract.
Seems like that
He's
shouldn't...
a tricky boy.
Seems like that shouldn't count.
Right. It's just, isn't it the same kind of thing with vampires? Right? They have to be invited into your home before they can have any power over you. And I kind of like that idea.
I was thinking more like Rumpelstiltskin, though. I was getting more... Seriously. Yeah, he like tricks you into signing contracts, right?
All right. Yeah, or it'll come to me. Just laugh when I say it. Timeshare salesman.
Yeah.
So he, quote unquote, signs the contract. His father's cancer is cured, but in that same day, they do this. They're going to do this crazy stunt, and his father has an accident and dies in the accident.
The devil's
and
a
Johnny,
guy.
The devil's all like, "Lol,
gotcha." And Johnny kind of blames himself for it. How does he react to that? Help me out.
So it's a little confusing in the scene because, like, he was planning on running away with his girlfriend at the time, but then his dad dies, so he rides off into the sunset alone instead of with his girl. Yeah. But then you get the flash forward however many years later, and it seems like he never left the carny.
Uh-huh.
No,
and
he went
speaking
to
of his girlfriend...
Oh, he went to a different carny. Okay. He just set out on his own, started his own company.
I just want to mention that I called it when I saw the actress. I said, that looks like an off-brand Eva Mendes. And it turns out that was young Eva Mendes. Who then, when Eva Mendes, the actress, does enter the film, it's like she never leaves. She's in like every other scene. I've never seen a movie that gave her so much screen time. So Mephistopheles' son, Blackheart, comes to Earth, and he awakens these other fallen angels who have avatar elements, or Captain Planet, Earth, air, water.
Yeah.
And he's looking for the lost contract of San Venganza, which Sam Elliott, who I mentioned before, excellent actor. He's the narrator of the film. And I will give them credit for this, because I thought if Sam Elliott, if he's just the narrator who narrates this movie, I hate this movie even more. I just think that's lame. But they actually gave him a role. He played the caretaker, who, spoilers, is also a Ghost Rider. What'd you guys think of that?
So I thought that was pretty cool, because that was actually kind of I shouldn't say like a deep cut from the comics, but so in like the 60s, before they had the Johnny Blaze character, there was another character called the Ghost Rider, but it was based on kind of a different story. And it took place in the Old West, because, Marvel previously did a lot of Old West comics, and Carter Slade was known as the Ghost Rider, but they later retconned that. At one point, he was known as the Knight Rider.
All right.
Had to change that, because that name has ties to the Ku Klux Klan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so eventually they renamed him to the Phantom Rider, but the actual Spirit of Vengeance, the Ghost Rider character, the first one technically in the comics, canonically, is supposed to be Johnny Blaze. Yeah. But
Speaking
it was
of,
kind of an interesting reference from the comics, though, for Marvel
Yeah.
fans.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. That is interesting.
I feel like it was almost kind of obvious that he was going to be the other rider from.
I was
going to
ask if you guys predicted that. I didn't see that coming, honestly.
No.
No.
I mean, I've seen it so many times that I already knew, so I guess I just kind of like it was pretty obvious to me. But I've also seen it numerous times, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. Whenever I see Sam Elliott in movies anymore within the last 10, 15 years, he usually has minor roles for the bigger blockbuster movies. So I always assume that he's not going to be in it for very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, it helped this movie because he had an awesome role and he's a tremendous actor. But also, I think he kind of outshines Cage in the scenes where they're together a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. I would agree with that. Yeah. Which is definitely a hit against this movie, because if you outshine Cage, then it's kind of a problem.
We liked the part where the police are on to Nick Cage's character, Johnny Blaze, and they subdue him and arrest him, take him to jail, and they throw him in a cage with all these criminals. So we had Cage in a cage. It's pretty awesome. Johnny Blaze in a cage, played by Nicolas Cage. And of course he goes Super Saiyan in there and just nukes everyone. And I thought that was a great scene. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good scene. Out of all the action scenes, I thought that was probably one of the best. I mean, the one at the end probably was one of the most underwhelming.
Yeah, I like the looking at the kid.
Sorry.
Innocent.
Yeah, he's like Judge Dredd.
Just to prove that
he passes
not everybody's
judgment
guilty
on people.
Yeah. I mean, clearly that kid did something wrong to wind up in jail, but he's not a bad kid. So it proved that, Ghost Rider's not all evil, even though he works for the devil.
Yeah. He's a good guy, really.
Yeah.
What was my next thought? Oh! One thing we haven't talked about. What did you guys think about the bike?
I thought it very much looked like those memes of the biker that just goes, "Hey, liberal, I love you. I'll give you kisses."
Yeah, they really played up that sequence where he finds the bike. Right? It's kind of like when, I don't know, the sword in the stone, Excalibur, or finding the sword in the lake, right? It's the hero discovers the tool of his judgment, or whatever. And
Now, didn't Cage buy that bike?
Did he already have it?
Well, I don't know if he already had it, but I think that he rode it for a while after this movie. Like,
wasn't his dad's
you
bike?
mean in real life?
Yeah, I mean, like in real life.
Oh, I don't know. That's a fun fact, if so. But his powers, as they grow, they start to like infect the bike, so the bike becomes like this demon ride.
Yeah.
With the flaming wheels, and it reminded me of the singer from Korn's microphone stand. Oh man, this is like a Southeastern Ohio hit movie, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, another thing about Sam Elliott's character in the comics, he actually was from Ohio.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh man, I wish they would have said it in Ohio rather than Texas. Texas is just too easy.
Yeah.
So Blackheart, Buffy the Vampire Slayer villain, comes to Earth. He's trying to find this contract. Can you guys explain a little bit more about this contract? Because he needs this contract in order to start what he calls a new hell on Earth. and he's already started collecting souls at this village in the desert, right?
I was kind of.
But what is so important about this contract?
See, I thought it was originally the contract that he signed, but apparently it's like a different contract, or is it the same one?
It's so the original Ghost Rider, I don't know if it was the very first one, but a previous Ghost Rider, after he got his powers, he made a deal with the devil, right? But he took this contract and he fled with it. That was the backstory. He had fled. I don't know where he went, but he was trying to keep the contract away from Mephistopheles. Right, Steve?
Oh.
I don't know. The whole contract thing sort of confused me. I didn't understand what the contract was for, nor why the Ghost Rider was stealing in contracts in the first place, considering they're supposed to be bounty hunters.
It was the Ghost Rider before Sam Elliott's character, the Caretaker, named Carter Slade. He was a Texas Ranger who hid the contract there at San Venganza.
Well, Sam Elliott was Carter Slade.
Yeah.
So that was, I guess, just what happened at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, that's right. Well, what confuses me is they're at Carter Slade's grave.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Remember?
you don't want to announce to everybody that you're still alive after 150 years. It kind of gets a little sus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Most people that are immortal tend to fake their own deaths. That way, no one questions it.
the
I guess
powers were probably keeping him alive.
I was too enamored by the beautiful graphics to put two and two together. So thank you.
And I'm still, yeah, of course. I'm still a little confused about the live aspect of him as well.
And
Because
also,
the
why?
final scene with him, does he not just disappear?
Yeah, why was he only able to go into Ghost Rider form one more time?
Right.
I question
Probably
that.
It's
because his powers
was the last
were
of his
just...
ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Does he have like a magic gauge somewhere? Did you see that on the screen?
It's all
Was it
based
flashing
on.
red?
Yeah, it's all based on Christmas Spirit. And that's getting lower nowadays. But the new one is all, the new Ghost Rider is no longer based off. I'm sorry, it's based off of Horse Spirit. And since people don't ride horses anymore, there's just not enough power there anymore.
Yeah, it was based on horsepower.
Yeah, but the new Cage is based on motorcycle powers. So as long as people are riding motorcycles, the new Ghost Rider gets
Gotcha.
its powers. Yeah.
I see.
The Ghost Rider
Well,
that they
Last
had in,
cowboy just rode.
the Ghost Rider that they had in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually a different one named Robbie Reyes, and he actually had a Mustang.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Makes sense. They're all.
It's also worth noting that the three demons that Blackheart had partnered with, the three elemental demons, were actually, to my understanding, creations for this movie. They were not from the comics, from what I could find.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, the whole elemental thing reminded me of Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, the enemies in that. So I got this anime vibe from Ghost Rider.
Very
Yeah,
Yu Yu
it's just
Hakusho.
Yeah, and you just know that Ghost Rider's going to have to take on these guys one by one.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which is what he does.
Which is what he does, and he doesn't even kill them in interesting ways. It's actually kind of lame, I think.
Yeah,
He just burns them all up.
Yeah, the air dude, he just creates a wind tunnel of flames that sucks the guy into it, kills him. And then there's the water dude.
The sand dude he wraps in fire chains and he just burns him.
That's right.
turns him into glass.
Yep.
Yeah, the water guy just gets boiled underwater. He's like, really?
Yeah.
They were not worthy foes, it seems.
But Blackheart seemed like he was even weaker than them. Like he put less of a fight, I think.
Yeah,
There was kind
barely
of a
anything
cool
there,
fight.
so-
That first fight between Blackheart and the Ghost Rider, where the Ghost Rider tries to use his special move, the Penance Stare, and it doesn't work on Blackheart because you discover that he has no soul, and that attack does not work against people without souls.
Yeah, that attack has no effect.
Yeah, it's not very effective. And then Blackheart tells the Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, that he needs to get the contract and bring it to San Venganza so he can start his new
he kidnaps his girlfriend. He tells him that.
Right, he kidnaps his girlfriend and he kills his best friend.
Yeah, which I mean, perfect Cage too for that one. Reminded me of what was it, Knowing? Yeah.
Yeah.
He just walks in and he's like, Mac, you're dead. Where's my girlfriend? Just barely a pause, barely a blip on him. His best friend was just killed.
Knowing is one of my favorite Nick Cage movies of all time. So thank you. Let's see. The caretaker tells Johnny that he's more powerful than previous Ghost Riders because he sold his soul for love rather than selfishness and greed. And then gives him the contract.
Yep.
And that's when we get to our climax where the two of them go together to San Venganza, and the caretaker then has to leave because he used up all his powers and he has no more limit breaks. And that's also where Ghost Rider gets his shotgun.
Yep.
And this is supposed to be, this is the final battle, and I mean this is where I thought, like, this is where everything is leading up to, so this has to be awesome, but I was kind of let down.
Yeah, he basically one-shots him.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, he goes in, guns blazing, no pun intended.
Uh-huh.
and
And Blackheart reads the contract, and then all the souls come out and go and enter Blackheart. And then Eva Mendez's character, her name's Roxanne. I thought it was hilarious when she uses the shotgun herself.
Yeah,
when Blackheart's about to take out. Yeah, she's got better aim than Ghost Rider.
Yeah, just one shot pops his head off.
Right. But now Blackheart has all of these souls absorbed into his body. And it's a long sequence. I thought it was going to be a transformation thing, kind of like when we saw when Ghost Rider became Ghost Rider. But he just comes back. He's just himself with red eyes. Right?
They should have just made him look like how he does in the comics. That would have been way cooler. This big, hulking black demon guy.
You're missing something. This was the time that Dragon Ball Z was popular, so this isn't even his final form.
Oh, this is like one of 7.
Yeah.
He'll be back in the next one.
As we know, there's a sequel out there, so yeah, that's when he may hit his final form. He may not hit his final form. It depends on how long he can scream.
Blackheart is such an idiot because he didn't have the foresight to see that by imbuing himself with souls, Ghost Rider can now use his Penance Stare.
Oh no!
And I wish that there was I wish there was like a 30-second sequence where Ghost Rider, looks at the camera, is like, Penance Stare, and like flies up into the sky and is doing flips, right? And Penance Stare.
That's how it would be in Marvel vs. Capcom.
But we just got another long soul-seeing sequence again. Blackheart's really bad because he has all the souls of these bad people. Man.
And they make you watch one for each soul that he absorbs.
It's just 5 minutes, the soul sequence.
Mephistopheles comes back and says, "Thank you, Ghost Rider, for completing our contract." And he offers to take away the curse of the Ghost Rider. But Johnny says no. He doesn't want anyone else to make another deal, and he decides he's going to use his power for good. Which I'm just like, how do you do that? You have the power of Satan, you're going to use it for good. I mean,
again, I don't understand
know.
his power from either direction, because his whole power is to like punish bad people.
I just like how there's this Christian kind of element to it, but Jesus stays out of it. He's like, guys, you take care of this stuff.
Yeah, this is your problem. I'll come back.
We got
at the
hell
rapture.
powers running amok on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Cage's character from City of Angels. And then Meg Ryan's character comes back and
Wow.
kills
You just had to remind me.
Eva Mendes.
No, that fuse.
Eva Mendes versus Meg Ryan. Hell yeah. Eva Mendes uses her super Catholic powers, and Meg Ryan uses like pumpkin spice power.
Meg Ryan and Eva Mendes fuse into Megatron.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, I like Eva Mendes. She's nice to watch on screen. But it's like, man, she was in this a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
And whenever she's on the screen, she's always wearing something really tight-fitting, or her blouse is unbuttoned. It's like, come on, like, you can't use sex appeal to take away from a bad story. I mean, you can, but it's just...
But don't worry,
I feel like
ladies.
at the time, most of the superhero movies were all about like +1 sex appeal.
Yeah.
So wasn't this the same timing that the first Transformers came out?
Mm-hmm.
And that was all about what was her name, Megan Fox.
I feel like now the superhero movies go in the opposite direction. They're just like, yeah, we're just gonna throw all these beefcakes in the movie, and you know.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Beefcakes, yeah.
I mean, we used to have movies that, like Valley Girl, that required at least 4 open boob shots to be able to hit their production ratings. But people just aren't into that anymore. They've got Pornhub. They don't need action superhero movies.
Well,
Thank you, Steve.
speaking of beefcakes, Cage is he's pretty cut up in this movie.
It's true.
He is.
I wonder, who his trainer was, because they got him in good shape for this.
I also question whether they were CG'd.
It's possible, but CG wasn't up to the same standards at this time, so.
Yeah, and it's interesting the types of directors that they would have on these films. Mark Steven Johnson, his only other movies were the Grumpy Old Men series, Simon Birch, Jack Frost, and then he wrote and directed Daredevil and Ghost Rider.
Jack Frost?
Just an interesting... Yeah, Jack Frost. Is that the one with, what's his name? Batman, Michael Keaton.
I forgot Michael Keaton was in that movie.
Yeah, Michael Keaton becomes a snowman.
Yeah, Daredevil's one that is known for being pretty notoriously terrible. I've actually never seen that one, but
Yeah.
it honestly like really put me off to the character of Daredevil until the Netflix show came out.
I see. That's too bad.
Yeah.
We will have to watch Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance eventually. Maybe next Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another movie though that is kind of has this vibe that I thought about when I was watching Ghost Rider that I would love to watch with you two. It's called it's Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. It's a Tales from the Crypt movie. It's got demons, it's got the religious backstory to it, and it's obviously much more violent, but it's a good schlocky watch. I love to watch it with you two. I would be so honored. I would sell my soul.
We still need to watch Beowulf too.
We do. So, yeah, we did it. We watched Ghost Rider, guys. It's done.
Yeah.
Finally.
Another one for the Cage Hall of Fame.
Another one.
Is this one a contender for the B Cage of Fame?
Well, I don't think it's in our current runnings. The next official film, if we're going chronologically, I believe is going to be Snake Eyes. That's what we discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I heard that was a good one. I know that's
Yeah,
one.
we're going to have Snake Eyes, 8mm. I have to look at the list again, but really, I'm mostly excited about Knowing, maybe Bangkok Dangerous.
Oh, yes.
Those are coming up soon, so super psyched. You guys have any final thoughts on the Ghost Rider?
It's about what I expected.
Yeah, I would agree.
And Steve, sorry I forgot your Nick Cage news segment. I would like to bring that back.
I was woefully unprepared for today, so that's probably a good thing.
That's all right. That's all right.
But I can plan it out next time.
No worries. Well, thanks, guys, for joining me. We just did the watch through together and the discussion. That's awesome. Super appreciate it. And to everyone else listening out there, thanks for continuing to listen to Late Night Cage Fight. What else? How else should we end it, Steve? Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to talk about any future plans, but I don't know that we really have any at the moment.
No.
Keep it real. Keep it cagey. And look out for any of his other Halloween or Christmas-themed films coming up here soon. Keep them in your
Well, we're going to do
repertoire.
Christmas
Just
Carol
always
for
keep
Christmas.
Cage on your mind. Yeah. I just mean for our listeners to always keep Cage on your mind.
Always.
You know?
Always.
During this holiday season, know that he's got a great repertoire of
Yeah.
Halloween and Christmas themed movies, and you should really just keep it real with Cage.
Thank you.
Sean? Let's just hope that the rumors are true that he will be reprising his role as Johnny Blaze in either Deadpool 3 or Secret Wars.
Hell yeah. Thanks again. This is Late Night Cage Fight. Stay tuned for more fantastic Cage reviews. Goodbye.
Cage out.